This is another test. Hello everybody! My name is May and I thought today I would talk about some journaling prompts to reflect on last year and to bring us into the new year. You might notice I'm using a microphone for the first time. I'm still learning how to use it, so please bear with me if it goes a bit wonky and wrong today. Basically, I was listening to Smosh Read's Reddit stories in the shower and I knocked my phone into the shower and a big volume of water got into my microphone. The problem was though, I didn't realize this until I went to edit my NaNoWriMo vlog for the whole month. And for the whole month, it sounds like I'm in a washing machine and a microwave at the same time. It was actually kind of ridiculous. So I caved finally and I got a microphone and I'm really excited. And yeah, I'm going to try and learn how to use it. So this morning, I went to a New Year's intention setting yoga session, and there was basically 40 of us in the one room. We did some Lunar Hatha yoga, and then we did some like journaling and intention setting prompts and stuff like that. And I just felt so happy to be in a room with so many people who all had their notebooks and they were all journaling, and like it was mostly women and we were all crouched on the floor over our notebooks and writing, and I was just I was so happy. It was a really good space to be in. I feel like I made some really good reflections. I came to some cool conclusions and I felt inspired to share some prompts with you today. Some of these are inspired from the session this morning, some of these are inspired from some things I've seen online, and some of them I made up on the spot. I will say they are on the more rudimentary side of journaling prompts. If you've already done a lot of reflection for the year and you want to go more in depth, I'll link some videos down below. The Daily Victorian on TikTok, she did 31 journaling prompts to reflect over December. And I did all of those in one sitting and I found them really, really thorough and beneficial. Some of my prompts are based off of hers. And again, if you want to go more in depth, I'll leave those down in the description and I think you should have a look. But yeah, without further ado, here are some journaling prompts I've collated and created for the new year. So, my first prompt is, what are you most proud of from 2025? I feel like it's very, very easy to get stuck in how you can change yourself for the new year, what you need to fix, what you need to improve on, all the things you can strive towards. I think it's very much a time of moving the goalposts further back for yourself, but it's really, really important to sit and reflect on what you did do right. Sometimes that can be really big things, like maybe you finished your degree this year, or you got like a really cool job, or it could be something really small. Maybe you went on lots of walks, maybe you hung out with your friends a lot. I'd say my answer for this, I am most proud of finishing NaNoWriMo, which is a challenge where you write 50,000 words in a month. That was really cool. I finished my diploma. I got a new job, so I now work as a teaching assistant in a primary school. And then on a smaller scale, I'd say I'm really proud of the amount of effort that my friends and I put in to meet up and hang out in 2025. I'm really proud of how much I journaled, and I'm proud of myself for saying yes to lots of different opportunities, but also saying no to a few things and creating space for myself to rest and recuperate, so that when I am saying yes to things, I'm coming at it with as much energy as I can. So, branching off from that, number two, what lesson from 2025 can you carry into the new year? Again, I want to shy away from this tendency of completely disregarding everything we achieved in 2025 in order to reinvent ourselves for 2026. I've seen a lot of content online about the 2026 rebrand, but what can you carry into 2026? What lesson have you learned? This could be something to do with your relationships, with your productivity, with your mental health. Maybe it's something that appears in the really small details of your life, in the day-to-day routines, or maybe it's a really, really big revelation about yourself. For my answer, I'd say it's a combination of both. I think a theme that's been consistent for me throughout 2025 is ironically consistency. I'm someone that really, really struggles to do one thing every single day and keep up habits, basically. I've had a lot of internal battles, not just in 2025, but way, way before that, about trying to stick to things and stick to habits and tick them off in my bullet journal. And I feel like a big lesson I learned in 2025 was you don't have to do that. You don't have to get 100% every single day. I definitely fall into that all or nothing mentality where I feel like I have to either give 100% or nothing at all. But sometimes you can achieve more over a period of time when you're striving for 50% all of the time, as opposed to trying to go for 100% all the time. Does that make sense? And I mean this in terms of things like doing yoga every day, journaling every day, trying to write every day, do YouTube, just a bunch of stuff that I struggled to fit into all one day. These aren't realistic expectations, and I found the more gentle I was with myself, the easier it was to approach these tasks, and I was able to achieve more. Even if I was only doing them once a week, it was better than being in a negative mindset and doing none of them at all. So that will be my lesson that I'm carrying into 2026 is not treating my life like a spreadsheet and a habit tracker, just taking it slowly, doing what I can, and I think I will achieve more and be happier with my output as opposed to if I was trying to meet these unrealistic expectations of myself every day. So, number 3, what did you prioritize in 2025? Was this healing, productive, or harmful, etc.? So this could be a positive thing. It could be something like friendships or healthy eating or exercise. What did you really prioritize in your life that benefited you? In contrast, you might be feeling like admitting to something negative that you might have prioritized, and this will be different to everybody. Speaking for myself, something negative that I prioritized would be the quick dopamine hit of screen time and content online. I feel like not all for all of it, but for a lot of 2025, when I would get home from a long day of work, for example, I would prioritize zoning out and watching content as opposed to doing something that might be more beneficial for my health, like reading a book or just sitting outside. And you might be the same. Is there anything in your life that you have maybe not so intentionally made time for and given a lot of time to? But again, this could be a very positive thing. For me, something good that I prioritized is, again, hanging out with my friends. I feel like we saw each other so much through 2025. And if we couldn't, we'd do a voice call. This was with my main group of friends, but also lots of other different groups of friends in my life. I feel like I've really prioritized putting energy into lots of different communities around me. Okay, number 4. What did you neglect in 2025? So we've spoken about things that you prioritize, what you put energy towards. What did you not put energy towards? And again, this can go 2 ways. So again, this could be a positive thing, like maybe you neglected some really harmful thoughts about yourself. Maybe you neglected to keep hanging out with that one person that you don't really feel great after seeing. Maybe you neglected all of that extra workload at work that you're actually not being paid to do. And then on the other side of this, which I feel like for me is instinctively easier to answer, is what are some maybe good things that you neglected in your life in 2025? Stuff that jumps out to me is stuff like practicing my instruments or sitting down to write consistently. Stuff that's really, really easy to put off until tomorrow because there's not necessarily a deadline. Maybe in achieving your goals, you maybe fell out of balance with the different aspects of your life and you neglected one in favor of another. I feel like this is a really interesting question because you might have an instinctive answer for it that might be quite hard to admit, but I think it can also tell you where you regret not putting your energy, and it might be a useful hint towards where you might want to put your energy in 2026. Okay, I've got snark here for my reference. All right, number 5. Were there any stories that you told yourself last year that held you back, and are they true? These might come to you straight away, or these might be a little trickier to identify. And what I mean by stories is, are there any narratives in your head, any trains of thought, or any beliefs that you hold about yourself that's holding you back from something? Is there anything you're telling yourself that's preventing you from achieving what you want? This might be a really interesting prompt to dive into with shadow work. If you've not heard of shadow work before, it's this practice of going back and exploring your inner child, things you experienced as a child and how they affect you as an adult today. Maybe there are some things you're still carrying from your childhood that you're telling yourself even though they aren't true, and maybe it's still holding you back. This was a big element of the yoga practice that we did this morning. It was all about how the beliefs we are holding controls the narrative of our lives pretty much, and we all had to choose one belief to focus on and unpack. The one that I chose, which I found was really present for me in 2025, was this belief that coming to the page or doing anything creative is inherently difficult and requires a great deal of energy from me. And I will acknowledge that this is true in some cases, but in a lot of cases, it's not as hard as I think it's going to be. A lot of times I would put off writing, I would put off practicing double bass, I would put off practicing yoga, I would put off journaling because the thought of it felt so heavy in my chest, and I felt I'm already so tired today, I can't possibly have the energy to do it. And again, some days that was true, but for the most part, I think the story I was telling myself was that it was too hard. Julia Cameron once said, "It is easier to create than to not create," and I carry that mantra with me every day, or at least I try to. What she means is it's actually easier to allow yourself to create, to allow yourself to practice and do what you need to do than it is to avoid it. By allowing yourself to create and come to the page, you are getting rid of all the pain and friction you feel from not creating, if that makes sense. So yes, I would say that was my biggest story that I told myself last year. Okay, number 6, what did you avoid doing all year? What is something in your life that you felt obligated to do, or maybe you really wanted to do, but you never quite got around to it? Maybe it was always pushed to the bottom of the to-do list, or you said, I'll do it next week. Is there something that maybe intimidates you, or is there something that you don't think you're capable of? For me, my thing that I avoided the most was practicing my instrument. I play double bass in an orchestra. And again, it was this narrative in my head of it's such a big instrument. It's so hard to set up and tune and get started and get practicing, when really that is not the truth, Ellen. I literally could have just set up and played for 10 minutes. And if I had done that every day instead of avoiding it altogether because I thought I had to sit and practice for hours on end, I would have achieved so much more practice time accumulatively. So yes, what have you been avoiding or putting off all year? And what does that tell you about where you want to put your energy in 2026 and what you want to prioritize? Okay, number 7, which relationship felt the most nourishing throughout the year? And are there elements of this that you can cultivate in other relationships? I really like this question because you might surprise yourself with the answer. And I think whichever relationship you choose, it could be really beneficial to pick it apart almost and see what elements of it felt the most nourishing. What is it about this person that makes you feel safe and loved and listened to? What did they bring to your life? For me, I have so many beautiful friendships in my life, and it would be hard to pick one, but I do have a few in mind. And these are the people that just truly see me for who I am. I don't feel the need to put up an act around them. I can just be myself without going home later and picking apart everything that I said wrong, if that makes sense. People that I can have proper conversations with, people that I can cook and share a meal with, people that can sit in silence with me. Those are the elements of relationships that I really have found comfort in this year. So yeah, have a good think. Which relationship did you find the most nourishing? And if you want to, you might want to shoot them a text or something and let them know that you really appreciate them. Number 8, where will you be focusing your energy in 2026? So let's think back to where you put your energy in 2025 and where you didn't put your energy in 2025. Where do you want to put it in 2026? Do you want to prioritize your job, your career? Do you want to strive? Do you want to be ambitious? Do you want to tend to your relationships? Maybe put work on the back burner. Maybe you want to save money. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to find yourself. What parts of your life do you want to focus on? What parts of your life do you want to tend and take care of as if it were a garden? If all of the elements of your life were different vegetables in a vegetable patch, which ones would you want to water first? For me, again, I really want to keep riding this wave of my strong friendships in my life. I'll be starting my first year of university this year, so I really intend to make that a big priority. I'd like to get back on top of my savings. And then overall, I think I want to find more presence, more peace, more grounding in my everyday life. I want to live slower. I want to settle more into my spiritual practices. I want to appreciate the day as it comes. And not try and rush and achieve all my goals. So part 2 of this question, now that you have all of these places you want to focus your energy, can you think of a word to summarize how you can direct your energy? I feel like this would be best explained with an example. Like I said, in 2026, I really want to focus on being present and putting my energy into things, especially my studies. I want to show up. I want to appreciate the life that I have around me. And the word that I've chosen to summarize all of this is the word devotion. I picked this word over other words such as like focus, attention, or even dedication because I think there's a spiritual element to it. There's something powerful in it. And I like the idea that whatever I'm approaching throughout the year, whether that be friendships or my studies or even making a cup of tea, if I'm fully devoted to that task, I feel like that's how I can get the most out of my year. So I picked the word devotion. Please pick this word too if you like. I think it's a very, very good word if I do say so myself. But if not, can you think of a word that encompasses where you want to put your energy? It could be safety, rest, calm. I'll put a bunch of words up around me to give you some inspiration. So number 9, what is something easy that you can do today that can set positivity into motion for 2026? Again, I feel like we're coming for the 2026 rebrand and we're expecting our lives to change the 1st of January, and we're going to do all these amazing things day one. But inevitably, I feel like it's very common for people to maybe get quite tired of these resolutions very quickly and feel like they've failed. I've definitely done this many, many times. So maybe we can start off a bit easier. What's one thing you can do today to show yourself that you intend to direct your energy into bettering yourself? Maybe it's going for a walk if you haven't for a while. Maybe it's doing a really cool self-care routine, maybe a hair mask, maybe a face mask. Maybe it's organizing one of your desk drawers, or trying on a new outfit, or throwing out an outfit that doesn't fit anymore. I feel like it's really easy to get caught up in the possibility of all of the things you could be doing in the new year. And all of these possibilities, I feel, especially for neurodivergent brains, this can be quite paralyzing. And there's the possibility that because of this, we don't end up doing anything at all, which is why I suggest what is one simple thing that you can do to show yourself that you care and that you're here. Okay, number 10, picture yourself on the 1st of January 2027. What would that version of yourself be telling you to do right now? What advice would they give for the year ahead? So think about yourself in a year from now. Think about all the things that you've got lined up for this year. What sort of advice would you give to yourself? Is this the year you would be telling yourself to take every new opportunity that comes your way, to explore new things, try out different things? Or is it the year that you need to rest? Maybe take some time out to recuperate? Would you be telling yourself to speak to friends and family more? Would you be telling yourself to exercise more? And on top of that, what does this version of yourself look like? What have they achieved? What benefits have they reaped from the things that you have done in 2026? Again, do they have abs because you exercised all the time? Do they have a new qualification? Do they play an instrument? Have they moved to the other side of the world? Just take a sec to indulge in all the possibilities of where you could be at the end of the year. And I think where we're currently at as a society, it's very common to look towards the internet to try and find advice on how to improve, which I think is so beneficial. Like I said, I've got really good resources down below that I found on TikTok. Like, there's a well of information to be found online. But at the same time, we can't forget that we have the answers inside of us. I am a big believer that sometimes we aren't learning things, we're actually remembering them. We have the energy already inside our bodies and we just have to remember that it's there. I think if you dare to ask yourself, you might come up with an answer. If you dare to ask yourself, what do I need to do to be where I want to be at the end of the year? You will have an answer. My answer to this question was, again, devotion. I think I would say take your time, devote yourself to everything that you do, sit in the quiet, sit in the stillness, sit in the actions that you are taking. Take joy in every movement, every task, every obligation. Find gratitude in all of your obligations. And I think that will set me up for a good year. Oh my gosh, I have been talking for so much longer than I thought I would be. So those are all the journaling prompts that I have for you today. If you feel so inclined, please share some of your answers in the comments below. I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you are interested in more writing content, more journaling content, maybe some music content, please subscribe, please stick around. This year is going to be a good year, and that is a threat. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.